Etymology and historical origin of the baby name Jemima. Jemima is an ancient Hebrew name, born from the Bible as the eldest daughter of Job. She is mentioned only fleetingly in Job 42 verses 13 to 15, when the Lord restored the prosperity of Job and he had 7 sons and 3 daughters, of whom he called the first Jemima, the second Keziah, and the third Karen-Happuch. In all the land no other women were as beautiful as the daughters of Job, and their father gave them an inheritance among their brethren. Revival of this obscure biblical name was owed to the Puritans after the Protestant Reformation in the early 18th century, and it was they who brought this unusual name to the New World colonies in America. The Puritans had a knack for rediscovering little-known names from the Bible. It was their way of showing humility before God. The Hebrew name Ymiymah either means dove or bright of day. Unfortunately for Jemima, the name was tarnished forever in the United States thanks to Aunt Jemima, a brand of breakfast foods introduced in the late 1880s. The character of Aunt Jemima was based on a stereotypical mammy, like Southern kerchief-wearing house servant, and the food brand featured distasteful slogans such as "Eyes in Town, Honey." For obvious reasons, African Americans have been highly offended by the reinforcement of these minstrel, i.e., blackface, type vaudevillian characters, and over time the Aunt Jemima character has been recreated by the Quaker Oats Company into a middle-class black woman with pearl earrings and a natural afro. Still, in the United States, Jemima is a name forever associated with racism and as a result is never used. Because Jemima doesn't carry the same negative connotations in England as it does in America, it is actually quite familiar in Britain. It's the name of a Beatrix Potter character, Jemima Puddle-Duck, the Potts family daughter in Ian Fleming's children's book Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and a principal character, Kitten, from British composer Andrew Lloyd Webber's musical Cats. Interestingly, when Cats came to Broadway from London, the character of Jemima was changed to Syllabub due to the American audience's natural aversion to the name Jemima, again owing to Aunt Jemima. Again, Jemima's off-putting legacy is distinct to the United States. Everywhere else, this is a perfectly acceptable, old ancient biblical name with a pleasant etymology. It's currently a top 200 name in England. Go figure. Personality of the girl named Jemima. Romance is the hallmark of the Six personality. They exude nurturing, loving, and caring energy. Sixes are in love with the idea of love in its idealized form, and with their magnetic personalities, they easily draw people toward them. Like the number 2 personality, they seek balance and harmony in their life and the world at large. They are conscientious and service-oriented, and a champion for the underdog. These personalities naturally attract money and are usually surrounded by lovely material objects, but their human relationships are always primary. They thrive in giving back to others rather than being motivated by their own desires. This is when they achieve great things. Sixes are natural teachers, ministers, and counselors. Popularity of the girl named Jemima. Jemima was in circulation as an American baby girl's name, probably as far back as the early 1700s, a favorite among religious nonconformists like Puritans and Quakers. However, after 1893, Jemima basically disappears from the naming lists forever. Non-coincidentally, this is right around the time that Aunt Jemima pancake mix was making a name for itself. The name became too closely associated with the character representing the brand. And it was a racially offensive character at that. In fact, to this day, names like Aunt Jemima and Uncle Tom are used disparagingly toward African Americans, considered a racial slur in some ways. It seems that no one will touch this name in the US. Despite its positive biblical origins, it will forever live in the dark shadow cast by insensitive white businessmen well over 100 years ago. Although, we should mention that, ironically, the original creator of the old Aunt Jemima character was actually an African-American vaudevillian entertainer named Billy Kersons, see point 1842-1915. Quick facts on Jemima. Gender, girl. Origin, Hebrew. Number of syllables, 3. Ranking popularity, not applicable. Pronunciation, Jmim. Simple meaning, dove. Characteristics of Jemima. Affectionate, sensitive, loving, community-minded, humanitarian, family-oriented, compassionate. Cultural references to the baby name Jemima. Literary characters of the baby name Jemima. Jemima is a principal character of Cats, the extraordinarily successful 1981 musical by Andrew Lloyd Webber based upon the poems of T.S. Eliot. Jemima is an adorable and innocent kitten, the youngest of the tribe, who is one of the only ones to accept the banished Grisabella. It is Jemima who is able to interpret for the others the philosophical musings of Old Deuteronomy, and indirectly, it is Jemima who is largely responsible for the selection of Grisabella's ascension to eternity. Quite an accomplishment for a cute little kitten, Aunt Jemima is the controversial spokeswoman for a line of breakfast foods owned by the Quaker Oats Company. She made her original appearance on a pancake mix in 1889, borrowed directly from one of the stereotypical icons of African Americans as depicted in early minstrel shows. The image was a hugely popular one, apparently responding to some deep-seated American nostalgia for an antebellum South that was anything but idyllic. Rightfully insulted African Americans have lobbied to have the image modernized and amended, and Aunt Jemima today looks just like anyone else. No kerchief, no apron. Popular songs on Jemima. Old Aunt Jemima, Electric Aunt Jemima, a song by the band Jemima Surrender, a minstrel song written by Billy Kersons, 1875, a song by the Mothers of Invention. Famous people named Jemima. Jemima Kahn, writer/editor, Jemima Nicholas, Welsh battle heroine, Jemima Kirk, actress, Jemima Wilkinson, early American evangelist.